Yeah. It's all right, it's upside down then. And that's fine. So we're continuing today. We are continuing after we were reading Madhavendra Puri, how he has established the deity of Gopal. And establishing its worship, he was engaged in said worship for around 2 years, until, following those 2 years of consistent worship, Gopal appeared once again to Madhavendra Puri in his dreams. We'll read later on that in Prabhupada's purports that in fact Krishna appearing in one's dreams is signifying a high level of spiritual advancement. And we have heard from the rest of the pastimes of Madhavendra Puri that he is a very, very great devotee. And after these 2 years, Krishna, in the form of Gopal, came again, and he showed again his mercy. His mercy in allowing Madhavendra Puri to be engaged in his service. Being asked to do service actually is the greatest mercy. We'll read later on in the Gundicha Marjan Lila, in the Gundicha Mandir Marjan Lila, the cleansing of the Gundicha Mandir before Ratha Yatra. We'll read that Mahaprabhu, when asking to clean the temple, it said that he begged. He begged for the opportunity to be able to do menial service in sweeping the Gundicha Mandir, the temple. In this, we find that if the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, playing the role of a devotee, tasting the highest levels of spiritual advancement, if it is good enough menial service, or any service in general, but especially menial service, if it's good enough for him to beg for it, then it's more than good enough. It is a blessing for us to even have the opportunity to be asked for it. If we do not have the opportunity to ask for menial service, then we should beg for it. If we do not, it is a mercy. Sometimes we find after prasadam on Sunday feast, or sometimes when there is time to clean up, we'll sort of avoid maybe sometimes the devotee who's asking, can somebody help clean this up? But actually the opposite approach should be taken. We should be begging for such menial service opportunities. And so, with such a mindset, we should understand that actually this is reflecting the great spiritual qualifications of Madhavendra Puri, that he was so blessed, that he was in such a point of receiving so much mercy that Gopal not just once came and gave him a very strong directive, a strong service that he could render unto Gopal, but then comes a second time and he asks, and he says, please bring some sandalwood from the Malay province and smear the pulp all over my body to cool me. This Malay is used to refer to a certain province. And Prabhupada, he makes an interesting point that the word Malay is also sometimes used to refer to the modern country of Malaysia. And Prabhupada makes a point that actually this country also produced sandalwood. However, now they have found it more profitable to produce rubber trees. Although the Vedic culture was once prevalent in Malaysia, now all the inhabitants are Muslims. The Vedic culture is now lost in Malaysia, Java, and Indonesia. And an interesting point is made, however, that Prabhupada did not say that the culture of creating the sandalwood, this very popular thing, was not abandoned because of Muslim influence. Actually, it was abandoned because of economic influence. People will often, they will point fingers, they will say, this religion is being bad for spiritual development, this religion is bad for spiritual development, this and that. But actually, functionally, practically, the greatest opponent to Vedic culture and therefore to genuine spiritual achievement is in this day and age isn't any religion that we commonly think of when we think of religion. It's the materialistic conceptions of life which value profit and financial growth and economic stability. When they value all these things over, not necessarily over other material, mundane values, but over spiritual development of Vedic culture. Sometimes people, they will look at how when people are talking about re-establishing Varnashram Dharma, we know Srila Prabhupada famously said, I've only completed 50% of my mission. The other 50% that I wish to complete was to re-establish Varnashram Dharma, these communities built on Varnashram values. And people will see this and they'll say, yeah, but what about medicine? What about computers? What about all these other elements of the great opulent society we're in now? And it is this mindset, the religion of modern quote-unquote progress, with all of the great quote-unquote progresses that the modern world has given us, abiding by these as the great achievements. And of course, people will be subservient to such conceptions. In schools, it's shown that history is a great trajectory of technological and political advancement. But actually, Srila Prabhupada was saying the majority of these political movements and histories, they're showing that before, at one point, Brahmins were ruling, and this was Vedic culture, as Prabhupada is mentioning here. Then, later on, Kshatriyas were ruling. They overthrew the Brahmins. And this was maybe dictatorship or something like that. The dictatorships were when the Kshatriyas were ruling. Then the Kshatriyas were overthrown, the monarchies were overthrown, and the Vaishyas, the third-class men, started ruling. And there we have the capitalist systems. And here we find the capitalist system is overthrowing this culture of things that are valued in Vedic culture. And then finally, in the last step, the Shudras overthrow the capitalist, and then socialists and communists take in control. And so that is currently the era that we're looking into, where now the fourth-class man is ruling. Eventually, at one point, it'll be the outcast man that is ruling, and then Kali Yuga will come in full swing. We're still in that area where Kali Yuga is slowly progressing towards its very vile and unfortunate conditions. So still, it is not necessarily any other apparent religion that is counteracting Vedic values. It is adopting this materialistic and consumeristic conceptions of life, where it is having fast cars and fast computers and big TVs and video games and all sorts of other things. It is the idea that these things are what define a good society. These things are the sign of a progressive society. It is when this religion is imbibed, it is at that point that Vedic values and Vedic culture gets destroyed. And that is the point Srila Prabhupada is making here. He did not say it was because of Islamic influence that this Vedic culture was removed. It was because there was economic value to be found in reducing the Vedic culture. So saying like this, Madhavendra Puri, he became very glad due to ecstasy of love of Godhead. And in order to execute the command of the Lord, he went to Bengal. Before leaving, he made all arrangements for the regular deity worship, and he made sure everything was fine before leaving. And then he left, and while he was traveling, he arrived in Shantipur, at the house of Advaita Acharya, which is where we just heard the pastimes of Mahaprabhu having such a wonderful feast. And in there, Advaita Acharya became very pleased upon seeing the ecstatic love of Godhead manifest in Madhavendra Puri. Advaita Acharya begged to be initiated by Madhavendra Puri. After initiating him, Madhavendra Puri started for South India. And this is where we ended the discussion on Tuesday. This is where we ended the description of the pastimes, on this point of Madhavendra Puri initiating Advaita Acharya. And this question of his initiation, again, I was saying, Madhavendra Puri's pastimes are very relevant with questions of parampara. Already we've discussed a bit about the title Puri and what this means about the nature of the parampara coming through, starting from Krishna through Brahma, then Madhva, and then to Madhavendra Puri, who would later pass on the parampara to Ishwar Puri, and then of course our Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these discussions are very relevant, and we find a very wonderful purport, which Srila Prabhupada, I haven't read Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's purport on this, but Prabhupada seems to say he's essentially rendering that into English. And he says that according to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, a person may be a Brahmin, a sannyasi, a Shudra, or whatever, but if he is well conversant in the science of Krishna, he can become a guru. This is, of course, the famous text of Mahaprabhu. And we see this in the pastime. Advaita Acharya didn't say he was, it isn't that Advaita Acharya became very pleased upon seeing the Brahminical qualities of Madhavendra Puri. It is not that Advaita Acharya became pleased upon seeing the great strength of the renunciation in sannyas of Madhavendra Puri. It's not that he became very pleased upon seeing Madhavendra Puri's shastric knowledge, or the quality of his kirtan, or upon even his bodily luster. The Acharya became very pleased upon seeing the ecstatic love of Godhead manifest in Madhavendra Puri. This is the qualification. Because devotion, to be initiated in the devotional line, devotion is not concerned on the bodily platform. Because devotion is the Jaiva Dharma. It is the Dharma of the soul. We will have many other dharmas that are dependent on our conditioning of our body. But devotion is not one of those. Devotion is on the spiritual platform. That is what we are made for. At least what our souls are made for. All other dharmas occur because of the various conditionings of the body, the subtle and gross bodies that our soul is in. And therefore other dharmas, societal dharmas, all these things, we'll hear that one must be a Brahmin before taking sannyas in the order of Shankara. And that is true, because such spiritualities are not the spiritualities of devotion, and therefore they depend on material conditioning. But the only eligibility that one needs in order to be able to engage in devotion is to be a soul. And that is something that everyone is, because it is only concerned about our true nature. Devotion happens fully in the spiritual realm, where there is no material conditioning. If it happens there, without any material conditioning, then material conditioning must be agnostic, it must be apathetic, it must be irrelevant to the practice of devotion. And therefore, devotion is for everyone, because it speaks beyond the realm of the body or the subtle body and speaks to the soul. And if it speaks purely to the soul and practically is only the function of the soul, then the only qualification one can have in order to pass along that devotion, in order to initiate one in the devotional lines, is if one has fully awoken that Jaiva Dharma, that constitutional nature of the soul, which is bhakti. Only bhakti qualifies one to be an acharya, to be an initiating guru, or even an instructing one. And therefore, Advaita Acharya is modeling the correct attitude in noticing who is a bona fide representative of the devotional path. It is he who is having love of Godhead. Because that is the point. It is not that getting initiated is some social, societal rite of passage. It's not that now I'm a proper member of ISKCON. Not that now I am a proper devotee. This is something that maybe, now I'm growing up a little, I should grow up a little, and now I should get initiated. Now I'm a little older, now I should be taken seriously, I'll get initiated. Or maybe it's something cute, I can get a new name, I can get Das or Devi Dasi at the end of my name. Very cute, very sweet. I want to be I want to be a sweet devotee like this, very cute, and then I can have a spiritual master who is like a pet. Because that's all it is. Things that make us feel cute are pets. And then rather than surrendering to somebody who is a devotee, who can give one the essence of spiritual life, one has instead approached a sadhu and asked them to be a little pet that they can parade around. Because that's all it functionally comes down to, if one is seeing those qualities. But if one is genuinely looking for that qualification, Advaita Acharya is showing the correct approach is to find somebody who can give me what I want. The correct approach in approaching the spiritual master isn't that I want a cute name. It wasn't that I want people to take me more seriously. It isn't that I want people to stop calling me Bhakta Bob or Bhakta Pete or something like that. It is because this person has love for Krishna, and I want love for Krishna, and therefore they can give it to me. And therefore, Advaita Acharya here, he is modeling that so perfectly. And so, Srila Prabhupada continues that this statement is supported by Madhavendra Puri. According to the Pancharatra injunction we were discussing on Tuesday, that Vaishnava initiation isn't actually according to the Vedas in the strict meaning of the word Veda. It's according to the Pancharatric system, which is a bona fide form of Tantra. So, according to the Pancharatra injunction, only a householder Brahmin can initiate. Others cannot. When a person is initiated, it is assumed that he has become a Brahmin. Without being initiated by a proper Brahmin, one cannot be converted into a Brahmin. In other words, unless one is a Brahmin, he cannot make another a Brahmin. A Grihastha Brahmin, partaking of the Varnashram Dharma institution, can secure various types of paraphernalia to worship Lord Vishnu through his honest labor. Actually, people beg to be initiated by these householder Brahmins just to become successful in the Varnashram institution or to become free from material desires. It is therefore necessary for a spiritual master in the Grihastha ashram to be a strict Vaishnav. A spiritual master from the sannyas order has very little opportunity to perform archan, deity worship. But when one accepts a spiritual master from the transcendental sannyasis, the principle of deity worship is not at all neglected. To implement this conclusion, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu gave us his opinion in the verse Kiba Bipro, Kiba Nyashi, etc. This indicates that the Lord understood the weakness of society in its maintaining that only a Grihastha Brahmin should be a spiritual master. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu indicated that it does not matter whether the spiritual master is a Grihastha, a sannyasi, or even a Shudra. A spiritual master simply must be conversant in the essence of the Shastra. He must understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only then can one become a spiritual master. There's a pastime of His Holiness Tripurari Maharaj. Tripurari Maharaj was accompanying Srila Prabhupada when Srila Prabhupada was establishing the early Krishna Balaram Mandir. And at the time, I said before in a previous class that at the time, the local Brijvasis, they were not so used to this ISKCON idea. They were not so used to seeing Western devotees. And so there was many interesting sort of interactions that happened. And one that happened was, knowing that Srila Prabhupada was a sannyasi, Tripurari Swami, he was visiting one of the temples and he was speaking with one of the gurus there. And he was a Grihastha guru. And Tripurari Maharaj, he was very cordial, very sweet. But this Grihastha guru, he began to see, some. It's nice to be able to maybe to say, that I also have brought in a Western disciple of my own. So he was beginning to try to undermine Tripurari Swami's faith in Srila Prabhupada and also to attack Srila Prabhupada. And so this guru, he was saying that, actually in the Pancharatric system, the same as Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here, in the Pancharatric system, it actually says that one's initiating guru should be a Grihastha, with obviously the implication that, your guru, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, is, as his name would indicate, a sannyasi, not a Grihastha. And Tripurari Swami, he said, well, if you read that same text, it also says they should be very beautiful. So maybe then, with of course the implication that maybe that person he was speaking to wasn't exactly that. Of course, making that point that yes, these rules are there. Yes, these rules are here and there, but they are not the essence of the rules. They're there maybe for some ease, for some institutional purpose. But the essence of it is given by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And here, even if we want to say, if we wanted to make maybe a response to that comment, we would respond in the same way to this purport, beyond, of course, Tripurari Maharaj rather humorously revealing the fault in such a thought process, that Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu has said this, and Madhavendra Puri has embodied this. By being a sannyasi, according to Krishnadas Kaviraj Thakur, he has initiated Srila Advaita Acharya. And then we hear the final line of the purport, that Diksha actually means initiating a disciple with transcendental knowledge by which he becomes freed from all material contamination. Diksha actually means initiating a disciple with transcendental knowledge. We touched on this a bit when we were speaking about the nature of parampara. We were talking about the successive links, not necessarily being diksha in the sense of giving the mantra, of giving that is the mantra diksha, the initiation in that sense. But that is not the essence of it. We were talking about how even after Madhvacharya, the next 4 acharyas, they were not initiating each other. They did not give the mantra successively to each other. We know that after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Prabhupada, following set from him, listed different acharyas who were not initiating each other. I mentioned Baladev Vidya Bhushan was initiated by Radha Damodar Goswami, not by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was initiated by mantra by Bipin Bihari Goswami, not by Jagannath Das Babaji. But that essence of initiation, that passing through of transcendental knowledge, that was given. That is the heart of initiation. The heart of initiation, this is why this idea of first initiation is actually new. It's not really so old in our parampara, but in a sense, it's also not new at all. The idea of it being a separate thing, where first initiation is given and then second is given, this is a relatively new practice. You can find some roots of it in Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's practice. They refer to first initiation as Namadan, the giving of the name, and then second initiation as Diksha. Srila Prabhupada is where we first start to hear first initiation, second initiation. But the essence of the initiation is done at first initiation. And even if this wasn't treated as a separate ritual before, it still happened. Because what is the purpose of this first initiation? It is when the Guru accepts in his heart the disciple as his own. And therefore he accepts him as continuing that line of parampara, and therefore opens himself up to that disciple to say, I am now passing down that transcendental knowledge to you. And therefore that Diksha, because Diksha in the strict meaning of the word refers to when the mantras are spoken into the ear. Sometimes we think of yagyas, we think of swearing the 4 regulative principles, but technically, in its strictest sense, Diksha means when Guru speaks mantra into the ear. The Diksha mantras. Brihad Bhagavatamrita, we know, Nanda Kumar, his Guru just spoke the mantras into his ear and that was done. And that was his initiation in terms of Diksha. But Srila Prabhupada is making the point here that that essence of Diksha, even though that's strictly technically what that word means, the essence of it happens when that transcendental knowledge is passed through. When the Guru accepts in his heart that disciple as his own and says, I will pass down transcendental knowledge to you, then that initiation is complete. And that is that heart of that first initiation. There's a pastime of my revered spiritual master, His Holiness Radha Govinda Das Goswami Maharaj. He was preaching a lot in the Bihar region. And preaching there was a lot of success. Lots of people were approaching him and asking to be initiated. They were chanting their rounds. They were following the regulative principles. And they wished to become disciples of a bona fide spiritual master. And so Guru Maharaj, he brought them and he went to Srila Prabhupada and he told Srila Prabhupada, he said, Srila Prabhupada, I have brought all of these disciples and they want to be initiated. And this was towards the end of Srila Prabhupada's manifest pastimes. So Srila Prabhupada at that point, he was a little hesitant to give initiation. He wanted to put a pause on the initiations. And so Srila Prabhupada said no, I won't initiate them. And then he said, you initiate them. And then Guru Maharaj, he said, I don't feel comfortable doing this. And he asked again, please. And then Srila Prabhupada again said no. And then the next time, Guru Maharaj asked, and Srila Prabhupada said, okay, they are all my disciples. And then Guru Maharaj, he took them back. And then later on, Srila Prabhupada, he left this world. Later on, actually, Guru Maharaj, on the order of Srila Prabhupada, then began initiating. But that first initial batch, he gave them their names, he chanted on their malas, and so there was a bit of confusion. And Guru Maharaj was wondering, are they my disciples or are they Srila Prabhupada's disciples? Because Srila Prabhupada said, they are mine. But Guru Maharaj, he chanted on their malas and he gave them the name. After this, Guru Maharaj, he asked a senior Vaishnava. He said, whose disciples are they? And the senior Vaishnava said, they are Srila Prabhupada's. You may have chanted on the mala, you may have given the name, but Srila Prabhupada has accepted them in his heart as his disciples. Therefore, they are his disciples. That is the essence of that initiation. That is the essence of being taken under the shelter of the spiritual master. That is the whole purpose of Diksha. There's another pastime. One sannyasi in ISKCON, he received sannyas from Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada, when he gave sannyas, he would normally speak the sannyas mantra. He would give sannyas diksha. He would initiate them into sannyas. He would speak them to his disciples, and then they would learn it. And so this one sannyasi, he was doing book distribution. I can't remember exactly why, but for some reason he actually missed. He was there for receiving the danda and all, but he missed hearing the sannyas mantra. Instead, he was given a piece of paper with the mantra being written on it. And so he was saying this, and he was visiting a mutt of one of Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers. And visiting that mutt, he said, he was saying this. And one of the more fanatical younger devotees there said, "Oh, you have not been initiated into sannyas. Your sannyas is not proper. You did not hear the sannyas mantra, therefore you have not been accepted into sannyas." And so, of course, his faith in Srila Prabhupada was strong. He was not concerned. But still, he was thinking, well, I'm still here. And a senior Vaishnav came there. And in fact, that guru of that mutt there came by. And so that disciple of Srila Prabhupada, he asked and he said, your disciple, he is saying this. And then that guru there, he laughed. And he said, actually, I didn't even hear the mantra from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur when I took sannyas. When I was taking sannyas, there was so much excitement that I could not hear the mantra. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he did the same as your Srila Prabhupada did. He wrote the mantra down and he passed it to me like that. The essence of being initiated into sannyas and that essence of initiation is that acceptance in the heart of that guru into that. Of course, the mantras are important, but the heart of them is that. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur actually did an initiation over the phone once. One of his disciples was leaving his body, and due to his preaching timetable, he was not able to go to visit that disciple in order to give him second initiation. But he still wanted to give him that initiation. So he rang up on the phone and he spoke the mantras over the phone. Because again, the essential part was that he has desired for him to receive that mercy. And therefore, that is the essence of initiation. And that's why our line, it is very bona fide and very valid for us to draw it with that essential concern of how that truth, that transcendental knowledge is being passed down. It's highly unlikely that Vyasadeva initiated Madhva. It's highly unlikely he did that. But the essence of that approving of his tikas, that is the essential point. And that's all we need to know he was accepted into that parampara. So, this is Madhavendra Puri. He can discuss parampara for a while when speaking about him, but we'll keep on going because I'm wanting to get through this chapter. So, going into South India, Sri Madhavendra Puri, he visited Ramuna, where Gopinath is situated, not yet known as Kshira Chora or Gopinath yet. Upon seeing the beauty of the deity, Madhavendra Puri was overwhelmed. In the corridor of the temple from which people generally viewed the deity, Madhavendra Puri chanted and danced. Then he sat down there and asked a Brahmin what kind of foods they offered to the deity. Madhavendra Puri thought, I shall inquire from the priest what foods are offered to Gopinath so that by making arrangements in our kitchen, we can offer similar foods to Sri Gopal. When the Brahmin priest was questioned about this matter, he explained in detail what kinds of food were offered to the deity of Gopinath. And here it's explained that there is a very sweet rice, also known as kheer, which is where we get the name Kshira Chora Gopinath. It is in 12 earthen pots. Because the taste is as good as nectar, amrit, it is named Amrit Keli. This sweet rice is celebrated throughout the world as Gopinath Kheer. It is not offered anywhere else in the world. And then Madhavendra Puri, he asked, seeing the bhoga being placed upon the altar, if, without my asking, a little sweet rice is given to me, I can then taste it and make a similar preparation to my Lord Gopal. Instantly, Madhavendra Puri began filled with great shame upon thinking this. And he ran out of the temple. He did not say a single word. Once the arti was complete, he offered his dandavats and left. He did not speak to anyone. He is in the Paramahamsa platform and he began to beg. He began to not beg. We know there's different levels of sannyasis. Sometimes we like to think of them all at one level, but there's different levels of sannyasi. And the highest level is Paramahamsa. There are different levels. I've forgotten the names now in Sanskrit, but one level is the bumblebee. Because just the same way as the bee goes from flower to flower, and takes a bit of nectar from each one. In the same way, the bumblebee sannyasi, he goes from door to door, knocks and begs a tiny bit of prasad and lives on that. But beyond that level is the Paramahamsa, who has taken the ayachita vritti and the ajagara vritti. And taking these vows, they say they will not beg. What comes to them they will honor, and what does not come to them they will be hungry due to their lack. So these Paramahamsas, so in this morose state, he merely stayed outside the temple and he was completely distraught. He was completely upset and he was completely filled with sorrow. Why? Because when he desired to taste a little sweet rice offered to the deity, he had considered that he had committed an offense by desiring to eat what was offered to that deity. It's actually described in the Shastras that one of the reasons why dogs should not be allowed even near a kitchen isn't just that dogs are muchi, they're dirty, and therefore they will ruin the cleanliness of the kitchen. It said dogs, you can see, when we see dogs looking at food, they look with so much lust in their eyes at food. When they see anything, they will not discriminate. No matter what food they see, even while you're eating it, putting it into your mouth, they will look with so much lust. So if a dog sees bhoga that is being prepared to be offered to the Lord, they corrupt it because they see with such lust. With so much lust, they cause it to be impure. They cause it to be offended. And in the same way, Madhavendra Puri, he was thinking that by seeing this prasad and by thinking maybe I can taste it, even though he was thinking about it in a service attitude, still he was demonstrating the necessity of this meditation when offering bhoga. That it should be thought of entirely to be tasted by the Lord. Actually, the bhoga is normally offered before it is being presented, but when it is on the altar, it is uncovered. And at that moment, Madhavendra Puri saw it. And like this, he was incredibly distraught. He was very, very upset, and that is why he is morose outside of the temple. Leaving the temple, he sat down in the marketplace, which was vacant. Sitting there, he began to chant. In the meantime, the temple priest laid the deity to rest. Sitting down and chanting, Madhavendra Puri, he has illustrated the importance of chanting, Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport. Sometimes people will say, chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, this is very nice. And then at one point, I'll be on such an elevated level, I do not need to speak. They'll be like Mayavadis. There was this one, what was his name? I forgot his name now. He's very popular. And he wouldn't speak. And so, but he had many books. And he would say, you don't need enlightenment from anywhere else but yourself. That's why I don't speak. And Srila Prabhupada, when he heard this, he said, if we don't need any enlightenment outside from ourselves, then why is he writing so many books? Better he just stays silent and actually follows his philosophy properly. Because if he follows his philosophy properly, he will only condemn and damn himself. He will not damn the rest of all these people who are bewildered by his absolute nonsense. So like this, some people will say, but here Madhavendra Puri, he is illustrating that even on the highest level, chanting occurs. So this chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is something that is, it is not just a sadhana to get us to the sadhya. It is not just the process by which we reach our goal. Once we have reached our goal, merely the means by which we chant changes. Because we hear that Madhavendra Puri, while he was chanting, he was completely absorbed in his chanting. He had no other desire. Now we chant so that we may have purification. And when we are purified, because of that purified state, we chant naturally, out of attraction to the holy name. But the chanting of Hare Krishna is not something that has ever stopped. So like this, the deity, there's a Gopinath deity, he appears to the pujari. And he says, because of my bewildering yoga maya, I have bewildered you. This Brahmin was a great devotee as well. He was not one of the bogus Dvija Bandhu Brahmins, but he was a genuine Brahmin. That's why Prabhupada mentions in his purports, Gopinath appeared to him. It is not that Krishna just appears randomly. He has blessed him by appearing in his dream, and appearing in that dream, he has told him, he is engaging this person also in seva and giving him mercy. And he says, but he gives him actually, in a sense, this Brahmin is receiving an even higher seva than Madhavendra Puri did. Madhavendra Puri was given the opportunity to serve Krishna, very high. But now Gopinath is going to give him the opportunity to serve Madhavendra Puri. Now Gopinath is going to give this Brahmin the opportunity to serve the Vaishnava. And to serve the Vaishnava is even, it is said that the paraphernalia of Krishna is more worshipable than even Krishna. We will discuss that later. It's in Madhya Lila chapter 12 somewhere. I can't remember exactly where. But even more worshipable than the paraphernalia are the devotees of Krishna. And therefore, this Brahmin, he is probably the most blessed person in this whole pastime in that sense. Out of all of the instructions he was given the one with the greatest fortune. And the Gopinath deity, he says, I have hidden, I've bewildered you, and I've made you miss a pot. One of those earthen pots, I've made you miss a pot of that kheer, of that beautiful sweet rice. And making you miss it, I have left it aside for my devotee Madhavendra Puri. This is where it gets the name, Kheer Chora Gopinath, Kshira Chora Gopinath, because this was the Gopinath that hid away the kheer away for Madhavendra Puri. Now it will no longer be known as Gopinath, it will be known by the other name, Kshira Chora Gopinath. And he says, take it to the sannyasi named Madhavendra Puri. And so, he did like this. And awakening from the dream, he instantly took it. He took a bath, of course. One should still be clean. My spiritual master often says that ISKCON should be known. We're sometimes known for our kirtan. We're sometimes known for prasadam. Some people will call us the food religion. Other people will say we're known for book distribution. But he said another thing that we should be known for is the bathing religion. We should be known as people who bathe a lot. Because we should always keep a high level of cleanliness. Not because this is peculiar to ISKCON, but because this is peculiar to specific, proper, cultured Vedic life, and especially spiritual life. We should always be clean. We should present ourselves properly. We should not have some bogus idea that I'm beyond the bodily conception, therefore I present myself filthily before the Supreme Lord. We should still... It's not, I am beyond the bodily conception, therefore I don't care about my body. Good, you don't care about your body. Very good first step. But then you should realize, but maybe, even if I'm not using this body for myself, I can use it to please Krishna. And if I present myself nicely for Krishna, if I present myself in the way that Krishna likes, clean, well-dressed, dhoti, kurta, tilak, if I present myself like this, in a way that is pleasing to Krishna, that is the even higher conception, and that is the proper conception. It's not to be speculated, I'm not on the bodily platform, therefore I don't need to dress properly. No, maybe you're not on the bodily platform, but still you have a body which can be offered to Krishna, so it is much higher to be clean and to treat yourself properly in a devotional attitude. After doing this, the priest, he found that pot, and he knew, Gopinath, this was correct. And so he removed the pot, mopped up the temple, and then he went outside. And he was looking, and he was saying, who is this Madhavendra Puri? Gopinath has stolen this sweet pot of rice for you. He has stolen it. And Prabhupada makes a very sweet point. Here we find the difference between objective and subjective morality. There is the absolute consideration, and there is the subjective consideration of morality. It's said elsewhere in 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that some people, they are so sinful that no matter what they do, they actually don't incur any more sinful reactions. It's one of my favorite shlokas because it's very heavy. Some people are so sinful that no matter what they do, they will never receive any more sinful reactions. Because in the same way that if somebody is lying on the floor, no matter how hard they try, they cannot go any lower. If one person is as low as they can be, they can incur no more sin. How can somebody be more degraded than the most sinful of people? We'll read. There's many different descriptions, cow killers, abortionists. These are a list of a few types of people who are at the lowest levels of sin. There is no one lower. Actually, it's described there's one yagya for passing on sins in the Vedas, and it said, I pass my sin onto this person who's more sinful than me. And they pass their sin on to a person who's more sinful than me. And like this, the chain is going. And at one point, the chain must end. At the end point of the chain, it is said, and finally, all of these sins, which has been passed on from this person onto this person onto this person, goes onto the person who they can be found is no more sinful. There is no one more sinful than this person. And who is that person mentioned? This is in Rig Veda. It is the abortionist. But there's various different sins like this. And at one point, one can be so low, they cannot be more sinful. But in the purport, the point is made. What does this mean? And what it means is that morality is actually subjective. Sometimes devotees, we will criticize the atheist conception of life. How do you know what is right or wrong? You are all moral subjectivists. You are all subjectively, you say this is right, this is wrong. You don't have any groundwork to say what is right and what is wrong. But in a sense, morality is subjective. But subjective to what? The moral subjectivist, the atheist, will say it's subjective to whatever I feel, whatever I think. And Prabhupada makes in this purport the point that no, morality is subjective to the objective standard of Krishna and devotion to him. And in that purport, the point is made. For a sannyasi to marry, for a grihastha to marry is good. For a sannyasi to marry is maybe not as ideal. This is the point made in the purport. Morality is subjective. But what is objective, what is the frame of reference by which all morality is compared by, is this in line with making me more devoted to Krishna? Bhakti is the objective conception around which everything goes. And here we are finding Krishna, he is apparently doing something wrong. He has stolen this kheer. He has stolen this sweet rice. By a subjective calculation, maybe this would seem wrong. But no. Actually, because it is dealing with his relationship with his devotees. Everything Krishna does is objectively good and pure and true. For one thing, because Krishna defines morality, how can we say that he's wrong? But in a deeper and more devotionally relevant sense, everything Krishna does directly is done out of a reciprocation for the devotion he has in turn for his devotee. And if the terms of bhakti, if bhakti is the objective standard by which morality comes from, how can that ever be wrong? And in that sense, Krishna, even though sometimes he is breaking his vow in Mahabharata war, we know, taking up the wheel. Here he is stealing. But this is not wrong. This is in fact the greatest good, because it is coming from that objective platform of Krishna bhakti. So continuing on, the priest says, would the sannyasi, whose name is Madhavendra Puri, please come and take this pot of sweet rice and enjoy the prasadam with great happiness? You are the most fortunate person within these three worlds. And seeing like this, Madhavendra Puri, he came out and he identified himself. The priest then gave him the pot of sweet rice and offered his obeisance, falling flat before him, giving full dandavat pranam. Of course, when this happens, whenever anything great happens, people will, we know, sometimes it's said that gossip spreads around quickly, and this is an unfortunate fact. But in ideal spiritual situations, the great glories of the devotees are spread around. And in this case, it is a good example of people speaking about other people. Actually, when we speak about other people, we should only speak about their good qualities. And here it is being done. All the devotees began to speak. Did you hear about Gopinath? There's this great devotee, Madhavendra Puri, that he saved. Krishna himself, he stole that sweet rice for this devotee. And so even the priest was struck with wonder. And so everyone began speaking, oh, who is this great devotee? Who is this great devotee? They were speaking so nicely. And after hearing this, Madhavendra Puri, he broke in ecstasy, he had the prasadam, and then instantly he became embarrassed. He thought, the Lord has given me a pot of sweet rice, and when the people hear of this tomorrow morning, there will be great crowds. Thinking this, Madhavendra Puri offered his obeisance to Gopinath on the spot and left Ramuna before morning. He left immediately to go to Jagannath Puri. He said, as much as I would like to stay here and have darshan of this deity, I have a twofold purpose. One, I need to get the sandalwood for my Gopal. And we'll have to wrap up on this spot. I thought we will finish the chapter today, but we'll have to finish it tomorrow. I have to get the sandalwood for my Gopal because he is burning up. But on the other hand, pratishta, fame, name and fame, it is spreading around. People will hear what they've done for this most fallen devotee. Not that Madhavendra Puri is a fallen devotee, but in his humility, he thought himself to be. And then they will come and they'll say all these things, and it is uncomfortable for me to hear these things. So he was afraid, and he was thinking, I do not want this pratishta. It is said that when the heart is cleansed of all the other anarthas, all the other faults in spiritual life, when all those are cleansed away, with all of that empty space that is left, pratishta asha, asha, the hope, the desire for pratishta, for name and fame, that one is the last one to remain. And with all that free space of all those anarthas left, then nothing else being left in the heart, it said it dances around like a prostitute in order to allure the devotee who has cleansed away everything else, and dancing around like a prostitute, it attempts to seduce the devotee away from his spiritual life. And so Madhavendra Puri, he was so afraid of this, again showing us what a pure devotional standards are by. He did not want to hear all these wonderful things. He did not want name and fame, and so he fled it. And he fled it to go to Jagannath Puri. And when he entered, however, the unfortunate Madhavendra Puri, wanting to run away from name and fame, the people were aware already of his transcendental reputation, and therefore crowds of people came and offered him all sorts of respects and devotion. And there it is said, even though one may not like it, reputation, as ordained by providence, comes to him. Indeed, one's transcendental reputation is known throughout the entire world. Being afraid of reputation, Madhavendra Puri fled from Ramuna. But the reputation brought by love of Godhead is so sublime that it goes along with the devotee, as if following him. Madhavendra Puri wanted to leave Jagannath Puri, all because the people were honoring him as a great devotee. However, this threatened to hinder his collecting sandalwood for the Gopal deity. So he thought, now I'm uncomfortable here as well. Even though I'm in the Dham, how sweet it is to be in the Dham. We know devotees are so excited to go to the Dham, and Madhavendra Puri himself was as well. I skipped over the verse because I'm going over time, but he was so excited upon seeing the Jagannath deity, he was filled with ecstasy. But still, no matter how ecstatic he was, that is how revolted he was by that thought of pratishta. Elsewhere it's said that the desire for name and fame should be treated like the urine or stool of a donkey. An ass's urine and stool, that is how valuable a devotee should see the desire for name and fame. So this is how revolting it was to him. And so that ecstasy in the Dham was hidden away by the revulsion he felt at the idea of name and fame. But this is the great irony, that if one is a devotee, then they will have the greatest glorification. Srila Prabhupada, how humble and sweet a devotee. I'm not qualified to even glorify Srila Prabhupada's humility. But yet, what do we know? When we go to Vrindavan, what road is it that we enter in on? Bhakti Vedanta Marg. This speaks about many things, and I'll maybe later on we'll speak about there's some great purports to that naming of the road. But everyone who enters into Vrindavan now will hear the glories of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada's name is being sung all around the world. Why? Because he is a devotee. And like this, and this is the thing, Srila Prabhupada would often say, when I was a grihastha, I wanted my business to run well. And now that I'm a sannyasi and I've renounced the world, I'm one of the richest people in existence. Again, this is that great irony. When we are maybe juvenile in our spiritual lives and we are hankering for pratishta, we will not get it because, or we will not get it meaningfully at least, because we do not have that devotion which causes that great name and fame to come around. But once one is spiritually advanced enough to be revolted by it, then it will follow like a shadow in the footsteps of the great devotees. And as uncomfortable as it makes those great devotees, it is very important and valuable for us to dwell on and dwell into. But we will discuss that more as we conclude, when we conclude chapter 4 tomorrow. So, we'll conclude that chapter tomorrow, and then we'll hear about Shakshi Gopal. Sri Lila Krishna Das Kaviraj Thakur ki jai, Sri Caitanya Caritamrita ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna